Chris and Dan show, I'm with you. Comments are like, "Why do you keep playing this guy rap?" And I think Chris is with us too. Like, I don't think he wants to hear it anymore because get this, before we started recording, he doesn't consider rap music. So maybe that's a podcast before we react to longtime fan and Chris's first winner ever.
I believe. I'm not
Christina
certain.
Rice.
I believe so. Though.
One of maybe.
Yeah.
That's a safer thing to say. Okay, so rap, you're gonna piss off a lot of people, but rap is not music, Chris says. And I said that's subjective, and he said no, it's objective. So then I went to the Google Oxford Dictionary and looked up music, and it says vocal or instrumental sounds, or both, combined in such a way as to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. I argue rap is music, hip hop is music. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Let Chris have his point now.
Okay, so vocal, in my opinion, when you're discussing music, is singing. I don't consider rap singing. Instruments, again, in my opinion, would be the live rendition of an individual playing an instrument, not of some synthetic or computer rendition of that instrument. Okay.
My argument is music evolves and instruments can change over time. You would expect them to change. But I had to define singing. Okay, go ahead.
Again, sure, instruments can change, but I still think it takes the individual playing the instrument. Okay. And that's the way it's been for literally thousands of years, up until the last 30 or so years. Additionally, I would not consider most rap to be anywhere near beauty as defined one of the key components of music.
Right, but that part's
that's definitely subjective. Definitely subjective.
Yeah, you can't use that in this argument.
I understand. And I was going to say, which I completely agree, that is a subjective look at it. But again, I think a lot of people are not listening to rap for beauty.
So what would you say to the dozens, well, maybe dozens, maybe hundreds, who knows? I've stopped reading them after a while. Comments that say he just doesn't want to look deeper into the song. Do they have a point? I get criticized that a lot too on rock. I'm like, yeah.
So yes and no. Honestly, again, looking at the definition of music, that's the first way I listen to music is the instruments. And with rap, it's difficult a lot of times to listen to the synthetic version of the instrument for me.
Yeah, hip hop started like the thing for an MC was all I need is 2 turntables and a mic. And so that kind of supports your argument to some extent. But I looked up singing on Oxford.
Go ahead. Let me clarify one thing. See, I would say a turntable, like scratching, that could be considered music. Because that's an individual. That's an individual creating notes themselves, right? Not turning to a computer and just, here, computer, make something that sounds musical.
So you don't think software designers are artists?
No, not in terms of music. No,
not in terms of music, but just in terms of like does the technical prowess translate into beauty?
So I would say more so maybe for the graphics engineers, sure, right? I don't necessarily consider computer programming an art. I don't. I mean, maybe some do.
All right, so singing. Oxford says the activity of performing songs or tunes by making musical sounds with the voice.
Yeah, and I don't think that's rap. I just think objectively you could look at it and say that's not rap.
See, I'm with you on that statement, except objectively. I don't think you can objectively.
Yeah, because they're talking, they're not singing. Now, mind you, there are rap songs in which they do sing, and I do find those. Generally speaking, I do like those more.
Better. You do like the singing song ones better.
Yes, absolutely.
But what would you say to somebody who would tell you Well, you think they're talking, but they're actually harmonizing. You just can't catch it.
Yeah, possibly, I suppose. But I'm going to stand by what I said initially. And I'm not putting down anybody in terms of rap. I think rap is
I
more
don't even like current rap anyways, but I'm just arguing for
sure, sure, just for a conversation, right? You're
yeah.
playing devil's advocate to a degree. You do
Well,
like
but
rap.
I agree with me with my point though.
So I'm going to stand by what I said initially. I've never liked poetry ever, unless it's funny. And
Yeah,
the same applies to rap for me a lot of times. I think rap is more like poetry, not music,
rap's
poetry.
definitely poetry.
It's
Rap's
more
definitely poetry.
it's more poetry than music. If you want to to me, if you want to argue which is it, if you were gun to my head, I would say it's poetry. It's not music.
Because some would even argue pure poetry with no instrument is music because they are able to be on beat with their words.
So, okay, fine. I just the qualities of rap are not music; they're poetry because it's the message that matters. It's what's being conveyed that matters in rap, and that's the same as poetry. I think the argument, again, to me, objectively, is rap is poetry. It's not music.
Wow. What about the argument that rap is poetry and music?
No, because it doesn't meet the
There
qualifications
you
for
go.
music.
Case closed.
No, it doesn't meet the qualifications for music. I believe, objectively speaking, it doesn't.
So, where is this video? All this long. So, let's listen to some not music. I actually haven't heard this either. I know the artist, Kendrick Lamar, but Christiana Rice, and I know why she picked it now. I mean, I haven't really heard the song, but to me, Kendrick Lamar, like he's amazing lyricist. But at some point, most of his songs sound the same. You know, he's just like amazing lyrically.
Mhm.
Um, so I've never been like a huge fan of him, but he's definitely like one of the best rappers out right now. And maybe this supports Chris's argument more. I haven't heard the song, but I saw snippets of the video, so I know why Christiana wanted us to check this out. The video is really cool. It's really creepy, Chris. They used AI in the video.
Okay.
This is like one of the first the only thing I know about the song is one of the first rap songs or any song. See, they call it song. To use AI to enhance like faces in video. It's kind of freaky.
All right.
To
Could
check
be
it out.
interesting.
Yeah, I only saw like a few of the people. Like I know I'm not gonna do spoilers. You'll recognize some, I think, Chris. So here we go. Christiana Rice. It's basically boils down to Kendrick Lamar and the Heart Part 5 of whether he can convince Chris this is music or not. And I tend to think this song may or may not be. I don't know. I haven't heard the chorus.
So before we start playing Kendrick Lamar, I recognize the name. Have we reacted to him before?
I don't think we have, but he's big. He's like really big now.
Okay.
He was the guy who was featured in that video yesterday with that dude from LA that I don't know what happened to him and Lil
Oh
Wayne.
yeah, that's where I know it from. Yeah,
Yeah,
where
I'm
you
like,
said
that's
he was a
Kendrick
young.
Lamar. He was
Yeah.
in
Okay.
J Rock's All My Life with Lil
Yeah.
Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was
That's
like, dude, that's
absolutely
Kendrick
where.
Lamar. So actually Christiana Rice, she didn't even know that because she didn't comment on that one. Or maybe she did. Maybe that's why she commented. Either way, she probably saw that and said, all right, play this. So here we go. I'm gonna stop talking and stop trying to convince Chris that hip hop's music. That's Kendrick Lamar. But the video's creepy.
As I get a little older,
And I'll just stop right here. So far this is not music?
So it sounds like genuine instruments, but I know they're. I'm sure they're being produced.
So
Right?
how
It's
can you
not
tell the difference?
well because generally speaking, it doesn't sound like instruments in rap songs.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to think like if somebody from like the olden times before technology just
Oh yeah,
heard this song.
this song, no, they might think it's music again because they're imitating actual instruments. But this again, there's nobody actually playing the instruments, right? That's where we could have an argument, and I may be wrong. The fact that you're creating synthetically,
Yeah.
right, actual
Yeah.
genuine instruments, or at
Right.
least the sound of actual genuine instruments. Yeah, you could have an argument. Then it's become subjective. But I think it needs to have a human playing the instrument, personally.
What's a human programming it?
No,
You ever
it's
see
not playing.
Kanye make a beat? Oh my god, he's got this board in front of him with like 100 buttons, and he's already has pre-programmed sounds that he selected himself. Sometimes he, in the case of Dr. Dre, played himself,
Mhm.
puts them in there. So they played the instrument, they put them in the synth machine, they program them, they line it up, and they put everything together.
Well, we could go on a long rant. I could go on a long rant about that in particular, in terms of where I think technology is leading us as
Oh,
as a
well,
people.
this video is going to open up that Pandora's box. It's not even about the sounds, it's about the AI on the faces. Check it out, Chris.
All right.
I realize life is perspective. And my perspective may differ from yours.
Yeah.
There you go.
I want to say thank you to everyone that's been down with me. All my fans, all my beautiful fans. Anyone who's ever gave me a lesson. All my people.
I come from a generation of pain where murder is minor. Rebellious and more jealous, a trip you for designer. Belt buckles to cloud overzealous and prone to violence. Make their own turn, be your will of the will alignment. Residue burn, missed at the inner city. Miscommunication to keep homo detector busy. No protection is risky. Desensitized, I vandalize pain. Covered up and camouflage, get used to hearing arsenal ring. Analyze, risk your life, take the charge. Homies, don't fuck your baby mama once you hit the yard. That's culture. 23-hour lockdown. Then somebody called, said your little nephew was shot down. The culture's involved. I done seen niggas do 17, hit the halfway house, get out and get his brains blown out, looking to buy some weed, car washes played out, new GoFundMe accounts will proceed, a brand new victim, a shatter those dreams, the culture.
I want the hug. Look what I done for you. Look what I done for you.
I said I do this for my culture, to let y'all know what a nigga look like in a bulletproof robe.
His
Recognize
face
that
changed.
face?
Yeah, it looks like OJ.
Yeah. AI.
Yeah.
None of these guys said yeah to be in this video. They just used
Interesting.
AI. Check it out. Check it out.
In my mama's sofa was a doodle popper, hair trigger, walk up closer, ain't no photoshopping, friends bipolar, grab you by your pocket.
That's Kanye. Kanye
Oh
West.
yeah, I see it now. I didn't see it.
No,
No, all of them. I don't think I've even seen like the whole thing. So I don't know who's gonna pop up.
Option if you froze up, I always play the offense. Niggas going to work and selling work, late for work, working late, praying for work, but he on paperwork. That's the culture. Point the finger, promote you. Remote location, witness protection, they go hold you. The streets got me fucked up. Y'all can miss me. I want to represent.
This is the dude, Trayvon Martin. I don't know who this is.
I don't know what it is either.
For
Yeah.
us. New revolution was up and moving. I'm in Argentina, wiping my tears, full of confusion. Water in between us, another peer's been executed. History repeats again. Make amends to find a nigga with the same skin to do it. But that's the culture. Crack a bottle. Hard to deal with the pain when you're sober. By tomorrow, we forget the remains. We start over. That's the problem. Our foundation was trained to accept whatever follows. Dehumanized, insensitive, scrutinized the way we live for you and I. Enemy shook my hand, I can promise I'll meet you in a land where no equal is your equal. Never say I ain't told you. Nah, in a land where hurt people hurt more people. Fuck calling
Yeah, Will Smith. Will Smith.
it culture.
They can make anything they want now in a video. They could put your face and lip sync it to somebody else talking
Certainly.
and make that be your truth.
Well, so here's a question.
Matter
Well,
of fact,
first-
the real Chris actually likes hip hop. This is me using an AI to make Chris
Yeah,
appear
sure.
like he doesn't.
yeah. Well,
Prove it.
And it's not that I dislike all rap, right? 'Cause
He's getting
there's-
second thoughts, guys.
No. There's plenty of rap I do like. It's just most of it I don't like.
What about this? Halfway through.
I actually kind of like this. It's entertaining.
Is this music?
Well, let me ask you this. So before I answer that question, so they're talking about being able to do this exact same thing, which obviously they can make a song where the dude's singing, right?
Yep.
So they're talking about eventually not needing human actors to make movies and
Yeah.
and shows, right? Just need an image,
Yep.
and then they can make that image come to life.
Yep.
Okay, so would that be a movie you would think would be all right to go see? It would be comparable to watching a cartoon, right?
One of my favorite movies. Some of my favorite movies are animations, like Pixar,
Okay,
and that
okay,
actually furthers my point that artistry evolves with technology. So
okay.
yeah,
I'm
from
not
the
a fa-
20s, they would have said, "Oh, well, that's not a movie.
I'm
You
not
know,
a
you don't have
huge
actors."
I'm not a huge fan of animation. Some of it I like if it's funny enough, but generally speaking, I'm not a big fan.
Right, but
So,
many will draw parallels to your argument for why rap
well,
is
I
not
got
music to
one more
why
question.
those are not movies.
One more question.
Okay.
So, if it were a computer making these sounds, right? There was no individual rapping or singing or whatever you want to call it. It was a computer. That's all it was. There was no human whatsoever involved. Would that still be music?
Yeah, I think so. It just
Yeah, I don't.
that's
I don't.
okay, but that's gonna be
You've completely removed humanity from the equation. And this
right.
is
But who
where
made the AI? They
see
don't
this
make
is
themselves.
this is where I think we're heading down a very dark path. Personally, right?
Well, that's we can talk about that too.
If you remove humanity from everything, you're asking for trouble. My opinion.
Well, I didn't by me saying yes, that's
No, I
that would
understand,
still be art.
and that's part of
Doesn't mean I don't see the bad potential use cases of some of these technologies too, but that doesn't
sure.
mean
No,
that a
I
piece of
understand.
art made with
I completely agree.
technology is not
Completely
art.
agree. Completely agree. But I just don't see it as art. There is no human involvement.
Well, at least I can separate the two. This was made with technology, but I consider it art. This is a bad element of technology. Those two things can live together.
Yeah, I'm just saying I think there has to be a human element for it to be considered art and music.
Sure, AI is made by human.
That's not what I mean.
Everything's human made until the AI self-replicate. Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
and where they're making it themselves,
Sure, but my
then it's no longer art.
well, my point is that's probably a good 50 years from now.
No, I don't think necessarily, right?
Well, this
I'm
kind of shit's happening right now, but this is like a humans behind all this.
sure, but even so, I still don't see it. I think it's just how to put it. I think you're splitting hairs when you say if a computer programmer programs this, right? It's still art. But
Yeah,
if AI is doing it, then it's not art. I don't I don't see that either as art. I think it's splitting hairs.
I don't know, man, because that music doesn't get made without Dr. Dre or Kanye West. Like you don't have those albums, you don't have those songs.
What I'm saying is if it's all synthetic, right? And it's just somebody programming it, right? In the matrix,
Sure,
is it still music? I don't think so.
music evolves, man. I bet you the first time someone saw a guitar, they're like, "Oh, here's the beginning of the end of music."
No, because it still took a human to operate it.
But that's my point with the synthesizer, and that's
No,
my point with all these tools.
no, it's not a human
You
operating.
just
The,
proved my
no,
point.
you didn't, because I said there's no human behind the instruments, right? It's a synthetic version, a PC, a computer
Yeah,
version, right?
but if I gave you
There's
the
no
same,
art. There's no art if a human's not fundamentally behind the creation, right? Of the sounds that are coming out.
so I give you a synth box. All
Yeah,
right, here, Chris,
yeah.
and I give Dr. Dre one. The same buttons on it.
hmm
Now he pre-programmed your buttons to him playing the instrument. He does a lot, or he records somebody playing the instrument, and then he thinks it's good enough to put in his box.
hmm
And I give you the same box, or you give me that box. All right,
hmm
I'm gonna make a crappy song,
Sure.
and
You
Dr.
don't-
Dre is gonna make a great song.
Well, I don't know, great, but I'm surely better, right?
Well,
If you're
many
doing
would
it on the
consider
fly, if you're
great.
doing it on the fly, right?
Sure, sure.
don't disagree. But again, I don't. Again, this is my opinion. I think it's still synthetic, right? Go play a piano. Then I'll agree.
Sure, but isn't a piano synthetic too? Like,
No, it's not synthetic
why? Nature makes those
because
sound.
the computer is creating the sound. In a synthetic environment, the computer is creating the sound, right? The computer is not an instrument. It's a tool,
So
yeah,
what makes a guitar an instrument and a computer not?
because a computer will do exactly what you tell it to do, and it will always be exactly the same, right? The sound will always be the same. Uh, a pianist makes mistakes all the time because it's an art that you need much practice on, and to replicate it repeatedly, they still make mistakes thousands of times, right? That's not the case with a computer. You just put it in and it'll consistently play that exact same thing forever without error. You remove the
Well,
human
they do
element.
this live actually. They bring the synths out on concerts now, and they do it live.
Yeah, but you're still missing my point. Once you create that sound and record it, right?
Mm.
Once it's in the program, it will never be different. There is no error. There's no human element to it.
Oh, well, it would be, but we're splitting hairs because if Dr. Dre does this at his concert, the timing has to be live. He has got to get exactly that right timing. So you can argue it's the same thing as hitting that exact right note on a guitar or piano.
Hmm.
Because we weren't around 500 years or whenever the hell the first guitar was made. And we didn't see their version of Chris and Dan's show and somebody saying, "Nah, the guitar,
Yeah.
nah, it's not me."
It still has an obvious human element, right? What I'm saying is you have people, and you could be right on the synthesizer if they're making sounds with it and they're playing it, right? Technically they're playing it.
Yeah, just a derivative of their
Sure,
instrument.
I don't necessarily disagree with that's an instrument. What I'm saying though is when you go to a computer keyboard and you make the music with the computer keyboard, right?
Oh, like an actual synthesizer from a keyboard.
Yes. I'm talking a computer keyboard, right? Which is a lot of what these people do and make their music, just like dance
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
That's how they make it. I don't consider that music, right? Because it's not something that is ever going to have a human element to it again. I don't know
They
if
could
that
have
makes
said the same thing about the guitar. I had
No,
a
they
synth
couldn't because
keyboard.
you make the sound. It's very difficult to replicate even for a professional, right?
Right.
It's not the case with these computer generated songs.
Well, some of these synths are like pretty sophisticated. Like you have to press certain way. It makes different variability of sounds, like the way you press the key and where you press it. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm not a
Right.
musician. I'm just saying there's a case to be made. Because
And
technology
I'm
always
not
looks
disagreeing.
scary and strange at first, and then
I'm
it
not
just becomes
disagreeing
part
with
of the.
not just necessarily disagreeing with your argument as far as if there's error if errors can happen, right? Where it's difficult to replicate the same thing again, like there is
Okay.
with all instruments. That you have an argument, in my opinion,
Yeah.
with the way I look at music, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
but I don't think you have an argument if you're talking about the stuff that's created on a computer keyboard, and it's
I see. Once everything's played laying down the track,
yeah,
that part can be replicated, but easily.
it'll be perfect forever, right? And I just don't find that to be necessarily music.
Man, I think we got down to the core element.
But you have
Repeatability.
yeah,
Chris
if
wants
it's
the repeatability to be difficult or challenging.
yeah, I want a human to do it and do it well time and again, and it's not possible to always do it perfectly.
I see.
That's true art to me. Is it has to have a human component that's creating it at that time.
What do you guys think? I don't know where people are going to side on this. Hopefully, the side they choose. Here we go. This is trippy.
I want the hug. Look what I done for you. Look what I done for you. Take the drums out.
Oh, see, he took the drums out.
Celebrate new life when it come back around. The purpose is in the lessons we learning now. Sacrifice personal gain over everything. Just
like
to see the next
Broncos and a
generation
guitar.
better than ours. I wasn't perfect, the skin I was in that truly suffered. Temptation and patience, everything that the body nurtures. I felt the good, I felt the bad, and I felt the worry. But all in
Who's
all, my
this?
productivity has stayed urgent. Face your
Oh, that's still him.
That's him? Okay.
Yeah.
fears, always knew that I will make it here. Where the energy is magnified and persevered. Consciousness is synchronized and crystal clear. Euphoria is glorified and made his.
You know who that is, right?
Thinking Kobe Bryant. But
Yeah,
not positive.
Kobe. Rest in peace.
Reflecting on my life and what I done. Paid dues, made rules change out of love. Them same views made schools change curriculums, but didn't change me staring down the barrel of that gun. Should I feel resentful I didn't see my full potential? Should I feel regret about the good that I was into? Everything is everything, this ain't coincidental. I woke up that morning with more heart to give you. As I bleed through the speakers, feel my presence.
That's Nipsey.
To my brother,
Nipsey Hussle right there. Rest in peace.
to my kids, I'm in heaven.
This is trippy, huh?
Yeah, and I would have never guessed it's Nipsey.
This is trippy, man. Because imagine, well, right now, Chris, it's not Chris talking. I already told you guys.
To my mother, to my sis, I'm in heaven. To my father, to my wife, I'm serious. This is heaven. To my friends, make sure you count them blessings. To my fans, make sure you make them investments. And to the killer, the
This
spared.
stuff just makes me think we're not too far away from generated actors and actresses.
We already are.
Really?
You see Toy Story? Like, I was like,
Yeah, that's animated.
not even
though.
out of
I
high
mean,
school.
not animated.
Oh,
And-
like pure AI? I wonder if they did that
Yeah.
yet. Not yet. I don't think so.
well, this is close.
Sure, but you know, that's another argument we can spend 20 minutes on because when they first started the green screen thing,
Mhm.
true movie purists would say that's not movie anymore. You know, they kind of had your attitude of like AI.
No,
like, "Ah,
see,
nah,
that's
this
where
green screen's not."
I don't I disagree with that because it still had the human element doing the acting, right? I think when this is all generated by a computer, I don't think I like it.
But what about
personally.
when we merge with the computers? That's happening too.
What do you mean merge with the
We're merging with them.
Elon
Like
Musk
you're becoming.
putting components in your brain? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's the start of it. I mean, 200 years from now, we're going to be more machine than we are today. We already are more machine. This is my eyes, my ears, and my brain. It's not connected to me yet, but it might as well be.
Yeah, well,
See, Chris?
I don't think that's ever going to happen, but okay. Well, if it
The
does, well,
naysayer said everyone against technology. Said everyone who couldn't see the technology far. And see this, like the green screen thing, is normal to us because we're looking back. Like, oh yeah, no, you're still using humans. There's always a but. There's always a oh yeah, but. And that
no,
but keeps
that-
changing.
no, there is no but. My argument's been there has to be a human component to the art.
Right. Yeah.
That's my argument. There's always been a human component. When my argument ceases is when it's all computer generated. Then it's like, this is not art. I mean, it still might be enjoyable, but it's
the
not
same,
art.
It's the same debate. I don't know. Yeah, the technology is like something we have to embrace. And doesn't mean you have to like all aspects of it. I kind of dislike most of like the implications of this. But I like just enough to where it makes my life a little better with it than without that I continue
Sure.
to use it.
Sure.
And it's a viral, right? The
It's a-
more,
it's a
if I was the only
convenience.
person on planet to use this, it would do me not so much good. But because everyone's doing it, it's virality too. And I
Mhm.
think that's what's going to spur on the AIs. And I think that's what spurs on technology, like adoption.
Yeah, I mean, quite possibly. That doesn't still convince me that we're all going to be robots someday. We're all going to be androids. No.
Oh, that, Chris, I think 100%, not 100, 90% of the commenters will agree with me. Yes. If given enough time, we become androids.
Hmm.
We will be.
So your brain cannot sustain. That's why we won't be. I mean, your
Given
brain.
enough time, we will be. And what's an Android? What's the definition of Android at that point? Fully synthetic?
Yeah,
I didn't say that though. I said we're merging with the machines.
sure.
It's gonna be a hybrid. It's gonna be something you're not thinking about.
Yeah, you put your brain in a robot. But what
No,
I'm
you
saying,
put computers in your brain, like Elon's doing, like sensors.
okay. Well, maybe I'm missing something here, but the brain is not designed to last 125 years. So
No, this is true. It's not. It will bring more problems with it. That's exactly right. But doesn't mean it's not gonna happen.
all right.
Problems, opportunities, digital twin. We didn't even talk about digital twin. It's too deep for this. People just want Kendrick Lamar. They're sick of this. I don't blame you guys.
At my demise, I forgive you, just know your soul's in question. I seen the pain in your pupil when that trigger had squeezed. And though you did me gruesome, I was surely relieved. I completed my mission, wasn't ready to leave, but fulfilled my days, my creator was pleased. I can't stress how I love y'all. I don't need to be in flesh just to hug y'all. The memories recollect just because y'all celebrate me with respect. The unity we protect is above all. And Sam, I'll be watching over you. Make sure my kids watch all my interviews. Make sure you live out our dreams we produce. Keep that genius in your brain on the move. And to my neighborhood, let the good prevail. Make sure them babies and the leaders out of jail. Look for salvation when troubles get real. Cause you can't help the world until you help yourself. And I can't blame the hood the day that I was killed. You had to see it, that's the only way to feel. And though my physical won't reap the benefits, the energy they carry on admit still, I want you.
Well, that's a creepy ass video because technology, it just shows. See this, Christiana Rice, thank you, because this video opened up so many can of worms for Chris and I to explore. And I love exploring with him because I've always been one to say why. When somebody makes a statement, I'm like, well, why? Why?
Right.
Just keep proving it. And you get to some element at some point. But yeah, as far as the song, like, I'm not a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. I liked him early on before he got famous, but I haven't, like, to me, his songs, he's amazing, but
So lyrically, what was the song about?
I don't even know. Kendrick is one that you have to go dissect again because he has so many
Twists?
metaphors and ways he goes. Like, he has triple metaphors and stuff. I was in the mood for that because I was looking at the AI changing. But I mean, I can't tell you what this was about. I would have to listen again and not watch the
Yeah, I have
very
no clue.
distracting AI.
Well, I'm asking you. I have no clue. Usually, I don't have a clue.
I have no clue. If I heard it before, then I would have had a clue. Like, if I listen again for the lyrics, I'll have a clue. But
Okay.
it opened up like so many possibilities for discussion. This was great. And Chris is still not convinced rap is music, and I'm not so sure he's wrong. But it boils down to what's subjective versus objective,
Sure.
and I don't know.
Again, I
think it is.
I do think so. Just to appease some people out there, I absolutely think it's an art. I just don't think it's music.
Oh man, you should have saved that for the beginning. Like 90% aren't here.
Sure, I'm just well, I did say it at the beginning. I think it's poetry,
Okay, good.
which is an art. I just don't think it's music.
Did you ever think playing a video game would be considered a sport?
No, I still don't think it's a sport. For the same arguments.
Not to spend another hour on this, but why? Let me question it, but we won't answer it.
Sure.
Are you saying no?
Well, it certainly has human interaction. The problem is the mechanics that are being carried out are not by a human. Right?
Hand-eye
You have a human, yes, hand to eye. But what you're telling, what that human's telling the screen to do, the human's not carrying out that complicated process of swinging a golf club, swinging a bat, throwing a ball. Yeah, it just doesn't have the human interaction.
It's going to get more and more as the decades pass and we're gone and we're dust. But our kids are here and our grandkids are here. It's going to be more and more difficult to discern what's real versus what's not. And
What,
there's good and bad to that, as with everything.
so
But
what I
it's
find
going to get to that point.
I was thinking about this just yesterday. So what I find very interesting is my son's loved playing on consoles, right? Since he was 8 years old, right? He's talked about going pro, right?
Yeah, he wants to be an athlete. Respect.
So it's funny you say that because now he's like hardly playing it, and he's playing baseball for real now. He wants to be able to play baseball on a team, and that's all he does is play baseball outside, right? So
But they're both competitive sports.
no, there's a difference, and it was funny. I should ask his why
Yeah.
he's doing what he's doing, but yeah, it's different when you have to actually put all the physical elements in place to be able to do it, right?
Mm.
What why consoles are popular is because some, and I don't mean to upset anybody out there, but some highly obese person can play baseball or basketball or football just as well as somebody that has taken pride in their body and designed it in such a way that it can actually physically play this sport. That's why it's popular, because there's so many fat people now. That's why it's
Yeah.
popular.
What about virtual reality? See, this is where these things are merging because they have virtual reality baseball games. You have to swing just the same. The algorithm knows how you're doing it. It's not easily repeatable.
Yeah, that's a little different.
I
That's a little
know.
different.
And pretty soon, everything's going to be a little different, but we'll just be dead. And then the
Yeah.
kids will say, this is normal. What are you talking about? They're going to have debates about other stuff. They're going to think this is nonsense debate. They're going to have debates about, like, what's next.
I think competitive people will always want the actual physical element of being 100% involved in the execution of whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah.
I that's what I think. I think sports will be around for, even if they're not the way they are today, they'll still be around, like baseball, football, and such,
Mhm.
because people are competitive.
Well,
Guys
see,
in general.
we could just go down rabbit holes because sports is a evolution itself. It's a synthetic, like, if you go back to the caveman days and you have this argument, they're going to say, well, if they're playing a game for no purpose, like they're not going to hunt an animal. But like baseball and these sports, they derived from when we were hunter gatherers and we had to like throw a rock at a dinosaur's head to eat.
Mhm,
So that evolved into like a pitch or in other sports too. So
mhm.
then those things came out. And those people would say, well, there's no purpose to that. I consider a sport something that has an actual purpose in my life because a game has no meaning to anyone else other than the fact that it's a game.
Sure, there's lots of people that feel that way. They don't like sports because just what you're describing, it serves no
It's a
purpose, right?
reenactment of man's
No,
quest
that's
to
not no, that's not why
fight.
they feel that way. They just see that there's no purpose to it.
Right. But there's purpose to hunting and stuff.
And
So I'm
lots of
just
people
saying,
still hunt. Lots of people still hunt.
in my opinion, it's the same argument version of the argument as just with new technology, but the
Well,
philosophy is the same.
I would bet when you play with other people, right, on a console or PC or whatnot, and it's a sport that you're playing, I'm sure arguments break out where and, somebody wins, somebody else says, yeah, but in real life you would be shit, right? I would
Sure.
crush you
Yeah.
if we
Of
played
course.
one-on-one basketball.
We've all heard it. All heard it.
Yeah, and I don't think that ever changes, and that's why the sports will remain.
But that argument, like let's say the caveman and the baseball player is just like a decade apart. Like, what are you doing? We throw rounded objects to hunt. Well, you're throwing them to score points in something that doesn't matter. You can't do that. You can't throw like that at a dinosaur.
So your argument is, now that we have farms, there's no need for people to feed themselves, to go out and
Basically, yeah, we've evolved. Like technology helped us evolve to where we don't do that anymore.
sure. I just don't think technology will evolve to the point where people know that they will have an physical advantage over somebody else, a physical advantage within themselves. I just don't think we evolve beyond that. People by nature are competitive, especially males.
I think, yeah, I agree, and they need competitive outlets, but I think we're evolving and devolving at the same time. But that's all another argument,
Hmm.
because the competitiveness will still want that outlet.
Yeah.
And you could argue that's why sports exist, because farming left a void for men. They didn't know what to do anymore. All
Well,
right, let's go play sports.
is
Gives
that
us some meaning. So does
hasn't
everything boil down to meaning then? Was Jordan Peterson right? Everything, all of our arguments from the beginning of this video circle around meaning.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think human beings need meaning. Absolutely. Don't disagree with. You can never disagree with Jordan Peterson. Come on.
I know. I guess if you stay till the end, we've reached some form of higher consciousness. So thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
And thank you, the AIs that are pushing this forward. Like, subscribe, comment, share. And maybe we'll do more rap. You let us know. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.